It says I'm live. It says I'm live. I always like wonder, okay, can you see me? Can you hear me? But I've gotten a little bit better on what to look for on my end to make sure. So I think you can see me. I think you can hear me. All right, great. Well, first I want to say thank you to those of you who were just with me on TikTok and then jumped over to YouTube to find me, especially if this is your first time. Welcome. Because that is really why I do these Friday sessions, these Friday public sessions, because even though we have more frequent and deeper conversations inside the membership, I want to make sure that we're always opening the door to the conversation. So there's always going to be a way for you to participate in some way, even if you aren't feeling called to the membership yet. Just listening to what they want me to say about that. Oh, I was like, I feel like there's something, and then they're like, yeah, the schedule changes. Okay, so just so I get it on the record, for those of you who are in the membership and you look forward to our live sessions, which normally are Monday, Wednesday, and then this is the Friday. Next week is going to be different. Next week's going to be Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesday and Thursday next week, not Monday and Wednesday. Next week, Tuesday, Thursday, both at 2 p.m. Eastern, probably. I'm gonna be I'm gonna be coming on from first from Amsterdam and then from Paris. So I'll get to share about my adventures. So mark your calendar next week, Tuesday, Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern on both days. We will not be doing this public Friday next week, but 2 weeks from now, I'll be back. I'll be in Paris, but we will be back at this time slot. Actually, I think we'll be a little bit later. But anyway, point is, mostly staying the same except for next week, which is Tuesday, Thursday for member conversations. All right, got that out of the way. Oh, one more little reminder for again, a member thing. For those of you in the Inner Divinity Immersion membership, we're doing our office hours tomorrow. So be sure to go to the immersion playlist, divinemagic.com/immersion playlist, to be reminded of how to sign up if you haven't already. You do need to sign up every month. Okay, that's all we need to do for commercial and announcements. All right, let's get to the hellos. Hi, Amanda. So nice to see your name here. Hi, Kimberly. Hi, Sulky, is it? Kayana's here. Hi, Ben in Asheville. Hi. Jenny, Lane July, Robin, hi. Kids Fun is jumping in with a question. Great. Let me get the Post-its ready. All right. Where's my so Sharpie on the floor. And if anyone's new here, what I'm going to do, if you have any questions at all, put them in the chat. I will get to as many as I can. Sometimes I get to all of them. Not always when it's public like this, but we'll try. Put your questions in the chat. Sometimes when they tell me it's a short answer, I can just answer you right away in the moment. Other times they'll tell me post it. So I'll make a post it and we'll come back to it. All right. Just listening. Okay, so ask about Middle Earth. Oh yes. Thank you for being our Kids Fun. I don't remember your first name, but I'm glad that you're here and that you're asking the question because I invited you to find me and ask the question. So we will definitely do that. Thank you. So I'm gonna say Middle Earth. And Portal Admiral Bird. Now, what I will say is they don't give us a whole lot of detail about things like Antarctica or Middle Earth, but we will try. So I've got it. Middle Earth, Portal, Admiral Bird. We will do that today. Thank you for being here and asking that question. All right. Oh, Jennifer's here. Finally made it to a live on YouTube. Thank you for being here, Jennifer. I'm glad you're here. Hi, Tony. Hi, Steve. Hi, Diane in Colorado. Hi, Molly. Molly, yeah, there was a TikTok live. I'm sorry you couldn't find it. But we're here. You're here now, so that's what's important. Hi, Les. Nice to see you in Phoenix. Um, Molly, you're asking about how to switch to the immersion. Um, I think the easiest way for me to tell you how to find there is if you go to divinemagic.com/find me, you will see a whole bunch of things on that page, including a link to the membership options. You probably have to do that on a laptop, like on your web browser, not on the mobile app for YouTube. A lot of This is just a general YouTube troubleshooting tip. If you're trying to do something and you're struggling and you're using your phone, probably switch over to your laptop, call up youtube.com, and then try to do what you're trying to do. You probably have more success. So anyway, Molly, that's what I can tell. And I'd love to, if you do it today, you can immediately get access to the link to join us tomorrow for office hours. That's at noon Eastern tomorrow. You do have to register. And the link to register is shared in the immersion playlist, which you have access to if you're in that membership, but you don't if you don't. Divinemagic.com/immersion playlist is the link that will either work for you or it won't. Okay. Gary's saying, hi, everyone. Hello, even Sis. So if you weren't with us on TikTok, we had a little bit of a, I mean, my heart goes out to these religious people that do stumble onto they tend to find me on the TikTok lives. I suppose they could be here too. And if you fit that description, I'm glad you're here. That's the first thing I want everyone to know is like, I welcome the people who are deeply embedded in their Christianity or any religion, but I tend to attract a lot of the rebukers, the Christian rebukers. And I'm delighted when they find me because that means that the message is getting out. I don't mind. Like I genuinely don't care if someone doesn't resonate with this message. I genuinely feel like it's none of my business. I'm really just sharing with those of you who want to be here, of like what I've learned and what's accessible because of what I've learned. And so if you are a Christian, and if you've been told that divination is evil or that aliens are demons, you're just not going to do well in New Earth if you even get a chance to try. So again, I'm glad you're here. I'm delighted whenever skeptics stumble onto this live or replay. Maybe you're on replay and saying like, what is she talking about? Aliens, gods, what? Copper divining rods, yes. So yeah, so let's see what else we want to get into. I'm going to keep saying hellos and see if we want any more post-its. Oh, but I was laughing at Gary because he said hello even to the religious, kind of troublemaker who rebuked me. Or no, I think it was someone else but I was rebuked, and we had a religious skeptic. I don't even want to call them a troublemaker. I think, I don't know, whatever. So we just send love to Sis. Love to Sis today. All right. Hi Jody, thanks for clicking over. Hi Laura from Circle Pines. I'm glad you're here. Paige from Tennessee, hi. Madara from Latvia, welcome. Carrie's in London, yes. Carrie's got her rods out, yay. Kids Fun is chiming in again. Big day for disclosure. Yeah, what we heard on TikTok that I'll just paraphrase real quick for the record here is we did get confirmation from Prometheus that some of the information that was shared is real, some of it is doctored, but all of it was very carefully curated to like start the conversation but not be too convincing, like not be too specific and scary. So it's soft disclosure. Soft disclosure is the word that they use, but it's something. We'll take it. We'll take it. Another thing that came through the other day, and I know a lot of people are like skeptical and thinking like, oh, this disclosure stuff is just a distraction, by the government. It's like, okay, let it be, like, great. Let it be a distraction. because it doesn't make it any less valuable or true. It can be both. It can be a distraction. It can be, an intentional strategic, like, look over here. Uh, doesn't mean that it's not working in our favor. Uh, our favor being like the 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 citizens, the people who have been just kind of at the mercy of what the governments are, world governments were willing to share with us. And they absolutely withheld a lot of information. And the story that they told themselves when they weren't being honest with themselves about control, they wanted to be able to control the masses. So that's the truth. But there were a lot of people in kind of that gray area. They were decision makers, and they told themselves that they were doing the right thing because the average person would not be able to handle the truth of aliens. Like, so there is some portion of people. It's not even the people alive today. It's like the people back that started like in the 50s. That's when most of the decisions were made about what would be talked about and what wouldn't be. There were other key points in time, but they're telling me that the 1950s was a particularly important milestone where it was like the hammer went down of like, this is what can be told and this is what's going to be kept secret. And many of those people in the 50s wanted to keep things secret for the purpose of maintaining control over the population. But then again, like, and then as the time went by and some people were like, oh, it's it's not a bad thing. We're doing everyone a favor by just keeping this truth from them because we just don't want everyone to freak out. So that's a lot of the storytelling that's happening now is, um, governments are, first of all, they know, they've been told. Oh, they're saying pull out the rods. Prometheus again, yes, and Hercules, yes. Okay, so this is Prometheus and Hercules, and by the way, if rods are new to you, I'm pretty sure that my last public video, I did a longer explanation. So go look at that if you want to know what these are and how they work and all of that. Main thing you need to know if this is new is anyone can learn this. I am not gifted. I am not chosen. I worked very, very hard to develop a skill. I learned a lot of things the hard way. I wish I had had a me to teach me, but I didn't. And so now I can teach you, which I'm not trying to do in this conversation for the record, but many of you in the community do this along with me. So let's do it. So we've got Prometheus and Hercules. Yes. Confirming disclosure details. So let's just set this. Okay, first of all, just did I like when I was talking about like did I hear that right with the 50s? In the 50s decisions were made. Most people back then wanted to maintain control for their own benefit. But then there was like this, growing sort of party line. It was like sort of the narrative of we're helping people, yes. And so that brings us back to the pastor story that's coming out. Yeah, no, the governments are trying okay, let me just what are they trying to say about that? So another thing, this is not something this didn't come up in the TikTok conversation. So this is now an extended conversation on the pastors. Let me paraphrase what we learned already earlier today. We learned that yes, there have been multiple governments, not just the United States, but multiple government officials reaching out to religious leaders, warning them that disclosure is going to shift people's understanding of God, in some form or another, some message, some version of that message. Yes, that did happen, but the truth is that there's no reason to be concerned. There is no conflict between aliens and God. So the propaganda says that aliens are demons, right? And the fear-based messaging and concern that's held deep in religious institutions is that the aliens are going to come to show that they go direct to God. We don't need a middleman. The aliens don't need to believe in God. Um, in fact, speaking of our friend Sis over at TikTok, like that all started because Sis asked in the comments, does anyone here believe in Jesus Christ? And I mean, my first response was, well, I do. But then my follow-up was, but that's a silly question because like asking like, do you believe in Jesus Christ is like saying, do you believe in gravity? Do you believe in air? Yeah. I mean, but what does belief have to do with it? You don't need to believe in gravity to be affected by gravity. You don't have to believe in gravity to be walking through a world where that would not exist without gravity. So the aliens are saying God is like that. So when you ask, do I believe in Jesus Christ? It's like asking me if I believe in gravity. And the answer is yes. And that's a silly question. The aliens are coming to tell us that, of course, source is real. Of course, there's a higher power. Of course, we can go direct. We can communicate with these beings, all of them, aliens, Pantheon gods, source. All of us can learn to do this. And again, if you missed me explaining this, this is what a yes looks like for me. Probably not what a yes looks like for you, but it's what a yes looks like for me. Also, because I know there are some guests here, another thing that came up in the comments on TikTok was, do you have proof of what you're saying? And I want you to know, you are not ever going to ask me or hear me ask you to believe me. And you're also never going to ask me to say, or hear me ask you to say, uh, to accept my proof. I will never say, believe me, here's the truth and here's my proof. The truth is inside you. I'm sharing what there is to share and you decide what's true. That's on you. So for some reason they wanted me to repeat that. All right. What else? All right. They're saying go back to the hellos and we've already got one post-it for Middle Earth and so on. And I'm happy to make more post-its. And sometimes we just get a quick yes or no in the comments. Yeah, Tammy, I'm just catching up with your note, but you were curious about those disclosure files. What they didn't say yet to answer your question, Tammy, is it the start of things? And I'm hearing, well, it's more than the start. It's one of many things that could be considered the start or the middle of the start, the middle of the beginning. So we've already been told that when the motherships become visible in the skies, we are meant to understand that to be the end of the beginning. So what I'm hearing right now in this moment is that the files that were released, and I guess more to come, probably. I mean, free will is involved, so they're not saying for sure, but probably more to come. And they're saying that yes, it's momentum. And it's like the middle of the beginning. So if the motherships are the end of the beginning, we're in the middle of the beginning. But we're not at the end of the beginning, so that's good news. We're well beyond the beginning of the beginning. But we're not yet at the end of the beginning. All right. Hello, Amanda in New Zealand. It's 5 a.m. on a wet Saturday. Wow. I'm often up at 5 a.m., but I am not like engaging in live conversations at 5 a.m. So welcome. And I'm impressed. All right. Hi, Lorna in England. Hi, Angie. Uh, Angie and Amanda, you're both here. I'm so glad that you're connecting. Um, let's see. Just spun me out. I don't want to miss anybody. Hang on. Um, I missed a whole bunch. Hang on. I'm scrolling backwards. Hang on. Okay, I think I caught up with myself. All right. Yes, there's Tammy's comment. Hi, Tammy. Sierra, hi. Ari, hi. Um, Gary, did I say hi to you yet? Tracy, hi. Malika. Um, John Lumpkin, always good for the thoughtful questions. Thanks, John. Yeah, okay. John saying on TikTok, I said they told us some of the UFO declassified docs were doctored. Which ones should we dismiss and which ones should we pay attention to? Good question. And Human Me does not, my husband sent me the link to the New York Times article, but I didn't have time to read it. So I don't know. Let's see. Let me just start by asking, and this is Prometheus. Yes. Is it possible for you to tell us something about okay. John, he's not giving me details. And I don't know. So Human Me, I probably should have. In retrospect, I'm like, oh, that probably would have been helpful if I would have had like a little more context for what was revealed. But here's the gist of it. Content wise, sometimes I'm just like, sometimes I feel such a strong power through the rods that I'm like, are you stuck on my hair or something? Like it's such a strong yes that it feels like something is pulling, almost like if they were stuck in my hair or something, or stuck like behind my shirt, like what that would feel like. But no, it's just a very strong yes for what I'm about to say. They are setting the stage for a potential Blue Beam-esque narrative. So what they added, so some of it is doctored and some of it is just things that were added to the collection that they knew were actually not alien technology, but like backwards engineered, human made craft and even weapons, I'm hearing. So what they're starting to what they planted the seed for in the files that were revealed today, in addition to legitimately real stuff. So that's how they make it believable, is they mix in a lot of real stuff with the semi-real stuff and the totally 100% false stuff. So all of it that was released represents a mixture of 100% true, like 50-50, and 0% truth. An example of the 0% truth, and they're not telling me if it was in today's files or maybe it's coming, but strategically what opposing forces are trying to establish as a possibility is showing people pictures of crafts saying, this is an alien craft. This is what a spaceship looks like. But what they're actually showing us is a picture of an approximation, like a human-made craft, which, so again, step one is getting us like conditioned to believe, oh, something that looks like that is an alien craft, because that's what the government showed us on May 8th when they revealed those files. Like, okay. And then what that enables them to do later is to actually deploy that human-made craft, which then we would see in the sky and be like, oh, there's that alien spacecraft that we were told about on May 8th. So there's the alien craft. But it's not going to be the alien craft, or like in this scenario, they're trying to keep the possibility that they could launch a non-alien craft, tell everyone it is an alien craft, have that non-alien craft do something scary, like deploy weapon of some kind, so that the government can swoop in and be like, we'll protect you. We will protect you. Listen to us. Follow us. We told you. We told you that was an alien craft, and then the alien craft showed up, and then it did bad stuff. So listen to us. Keep listening to us. We're the ones that told you the first story, right? So we're gonna keep telling you stories. Now that's not definitely gonna happen, but that was one of the strategic objectives of today's release of files, is to have it be step one of what might eventually roll out as a what would we call that even? I mean, it's propaganda, but it's like an action. It's sort of, that is Project Bluebeam in a nutshell. They tell me that Project Bluebeam was canceled because they correctly understood that they would not pull it off. But it doesn't mean that they're not going to like fall back on some of those ideas. Like, keep the door open for a human-made spacecraft to be launched and then say, look, aliens, they did something bad. You need to let us protect you. But also Prometheus is adding, like, part of the reason that's not going to happen is because the real, like, that would immediately, he's like, Prometheus is just saying, like, if the motherships, aren't already visible, then they will become like that. That might as well be a nuclear. Well, let me check. Let me ask. Prometheus, are you saying that a fake alien spacecraft being launched and called an alien spacecraft, would that qualify as a reason for intervention? Yeah. In other words, is that another example equivalent to the nuclear weapon? Yeah. So we already knew that they would they have and will intervene at any, could be tomorrow, if nuclear weapons were ever, and when they were in the past deployed, they would intervene to protect the Earth. Absolutely, like 100% of the time. And so they're just adding, this is now a second thing on the list of, if there was a non-alien craft deployed with an organized, corrupted propaganda strategy of claiming that it was alien craft, then they would immediately be like, no, it's not. And here's what we're going to do. So let me just ask, Prometheus, anything else? Yes. He's saying something about alien beings. So we started out talking about crap. I have no idea if there's anything that was released today. I just don't know the content. I don't know if it talks about beings. Well, Prometheus is saying yes. Okay. So I guess what was released today includes information about spacecraft, and about alien beings. Yes. And then I'm also being reminded of the question about the aliens from the future coming back to remind us, or warn us. And that is going to be the next video, which I mentioned in the last video. And I think I even said the numbers wrong. So it shows you how much I'm paying attention to these sort of rumors. But okay. Prometheus wants to say that whether we're talking about anything in the files, the disclosure files released today, or whether we're talking about rumors related to work of scientists, what we're meant to understand is that, and again, this is brain melty. This is usually safe for our member conversations, but time does not really exist. We only experience time because we're on the earth. But if you can accept that, if you just take a leap of faith, that's the one time that I'm going to use the word faith. Just imagine, pretend if you have to, pretend that past, present, and future are all happening at one time. That doesn't mean we're not moving forward. We are growing, but we're not growing in the context of time, in linear time. We are growing. Bring out my teaching tool. And I know, some of you are like, oh, this again. It's like, yep, this again. Because it's so important for us to understand. And if we're talking about being warned by people from the future, aliens or humans, this is the answer to that. We're humans on Earth, and we, by definition, we experience linear time. So you could imagine this as linear time. Okay, so day one of life one, day whatever of life one, last day of life one, first day of life two, last day of life two, and so on. Now imagine that in the middle is our present day, this moment right here in the middle. And now imagine we keep going. So this is day one of our next life, and then the last day of our next life, and then so on. So now, again, if you need to pretend, but take this on as a framework. Now imagine the idea, the scenario of aliens or humans coming from the future to warn us about some catastrophe. Okay. So the thing is, they're going to be coming from here to here, right? By definition, again, anchor into this lesson. They're going to be parallel to us. So it would be, they're giving me the example of, it would be like someone in today's reality going back in time and warning about World War II. I don't know. Like there's no, we can't change the future of our timeline because the future is already happening right now. But what we can do is we can do our part to elevate our timeline, because again, we think we're moving this way, but we're not. We're actually, all of us together are moving this way. And so if we want to avoid a future that has some sort of catastrophe, like some sort of apocalypse, it's not about someone from this future coming back to warning us here so that we can do something different so that this future doesn't happen. It doesn't work like that, because all of this is happening now. So, but what can happen is that we can open our minds to, what if it was possible for someone to come back from the future? What if those were aliens? And we can grow as humans, and we can lean into this inner divinity idea. We can learn divination. We can connect with interdimensional beings. We can develop relationships with aliens. We can do all of these things. So do any of those things actually stop the apocalypse that happened over here? No, because that's a different timeline. It's a different time frame. But what it can do is we shift ourselves, and we're all moving, including those aliens or humans that came back. They're helping the growth of this whole system because they made the effort to come back. Do you see how that works? It's about taking action. It's about taking action, but not action to like change something over here. It's action to move us all collectively up. So there you go. That, if you're brand new here, that might have been hard to follow, but I hope you'll stick around, because I do repeat that particular lesson quite often, and it's a really important piece of this puzzle. So again, thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging in there with me. So I don't know if any of you were curious about that rumor, that idea of like, we're being warned about the future. That's the answer to that. Okay, let me get back to our list. Hello, Pendragony. Welcome. Hi, Marina. Oh, yay. See you soon in Paris, Marina. Yay. I love being able to say that. See you in Paris. See you in Paris. Yay. Just 1 week away. Hi, Stephanie. Did I say hi to you yet? Hi, Allie. Brienne, hi. Erin, hi. Sue Ellen, welcome. Yep, Jody. So Jody, Marina, and Carrie, all of you are. I'm seeing you in the comments so far. Yay. Penny. Thanks, Penny. Thanks for saying your name. Hello in Mexico. Hello in Louisiana. Mash is first time here, long time TikTok from Montana. Montana is one of my happy places. So beautiful. Hi, Aaliyah in San Diego. Hi in the UK. Here's a really good question from Kiana. She says, I saw some info about allergies and histamine issues were linked to grief. I wonder if that's a short one or a long one. Let's see. Short answer, yes. Is the short answer yes? Yes. So Kiana, the short answer is yes. In fact, yeah, it's, they're telling me that it's like, oh my gosh. They just made me, they did a double joke. First they said, yeah, it's a little on the nose. And then they're like, it's a little on the nose, get it? So yeah, it's a little on the nose, get it? On the nose. But sometimes if we're carrying grief, sometimes we need, like, those tears are going to come out sometime, especially if those allergies, those histamine issues, if they cause your eyes to water, it's like, yeah, like literally you got some stuff to process. And if you do that, you'll be better on, you'll feel better on the other side. So, which is not to say, like, don't let that mean that you're, if you do experience allergies that, like, I don't know, you're being punished or something for something unresolved. Don't jump to meaning on that other end of it. Just invite in, just say, oh, interesting. My allergies are worse than usual this year. Huh. Oh, I lost someone this past year. And yeah, there's some stuff bubbling up. So that might look like that. You might also notice that maybe your allergies are not as bad this year. Maybe you got them. There's you get sneezing and whatever, but maybe it's just not quite as bad this year. And that would not be just a coincidence. That would be because you're bringing this work into your day and you're allowing it to help you move through some stuff. I mean, we talk a lot about aspects of this journey that are like downloads and like gifts and, intentions becoming reality. But it's not an easy road. It's not all fun. I really appreciated Stephanie's post video that she shared. Was that yesterday? Just kind of alluding to the fact that if you commit wholeheartedly to this path, you're going to have bumps in the road. And that's by design. I'll say it one more time, that one of the many things that were added to the Bible or changed in the Bible that do a huge disservice to us is implying that, like, God loves us or Jesus loves us. And therefore, if you're doing life right, then everything's going to be perfect. You're never going to have loss. You're never going to be sad. Like, that's what we're meant to feel. If you read the Bible the way that some of the early authors meant us to read it. And of course, we can never be that. Like, they set up this impossible task to be perfect all the time. And we're not meant to be. Not only is it not possible, we're not meant to be. So it was very, like, insidious from the beginning to make people think that if something bad happens in your life, if you get a speed bump in your life, whether you're on a spiritual journey or not, the propaganda is that loss and pain are like flaws. They're bugs in the system. No, sorry, they're features. We're meant to. We're meant to. If we didn't feel pain, we would not be living our fullest human experience. And that's the whole reason we're here. We don't feel pain in the same way when we are in any other form. And most of us have had other forms. We've had lives on other planets. We can relate to more than just the experience of being a human. But the experience of being a human is always, it's like it's graduate school. It's the hardest thing that you can do on the journey. And not everybody volunteered. Not every soul is up for it. But if you're here, you volunteered. No one is here by accident right now on this timeline. This is completely intentional participation. So just know that. All right, let me get back to questions. Tyler. Ooh, Tyler's bringing up the divine counterpart. You've been communicating with your divine counterpart telepathically, but not met him yet. Okay. Let's dial in. I'm hearing Persephone wanted to pop in on this one. That's fun. We haven't heard from her in a little while. All right. So let's just confirm. Now, starting with, is Tyler, is that the correct label to give the deity or the consciousness that Tyler is communicating with? Is divine counterpart the right term? Ooh. No answer. Is it the best term? The best term? Slow? No. Well, one's a no. One's like neutral. Okay. Is there a better, can you give me a better term to use other than divine counterpart for a label to who Tyler is connected with? Yes. Okay. I'm not hearing a direct answer to that question yet. So let me get some categories going. Sometimes it's like 20 questions. You just got to like narrow down. All right. Is Tyler communicating with an interdimensional being? Is that correct? Okay. Yes, that I got a yes. Is that just okay. Sometimes that's a soft yes for me, but sometimes they're just like showing you, if you're practicing with me, this is what it would look like for you, or probably. Okay. So yes, Tyler is communicating with an interdimensional being. Yes. All right, back to neutral. Is that, can you tell us the category of, yes, okay. I was going to say category of interdimensional being. Is the being an alien? Yeah, that's a slow yes. Is it a consciousness that has pulled itself down into an alien expression for the purpose of talking to Tyler? Yes. Okay. So they just wanted me to say a few more words. So Tyler, what Persephone is showing me is you are communicating with an interdimensional being who has pulled himself down into an alien form that can reach you. Yes. Okay. Now, is this alien expression, is it accurate to describe him as Tyler's divine counterpart? Which is basically what we asked before and got the same thing. Okay. Kinda. Does Tyler have and this is it. Okay, Tyler, this is where we start treading really carefully, because we're not going to ask about the future. We're going to do our best to talk about the present, but they don't always like to go deep into this. So I'll see how far I can get. Okay. So I want to talk about the present. Presently, is there a human on the earth in this timeline, etc., who would be considered Tyler's let's use the human label, soulmate? Is there a human on the planet right now that could fit the definition of Tyler's human soulmate, human partner, human counterpart? Yes. Is there more than one? More than one? No, but that's a slow no. Okay, what I'm hearing is on this timeline, there's one human that is likely to be Tyler's companion for this lifetime. Yes. Yes, because the reason I was expecting a full yes to that is because what they're explaining, Tyler, is on other timelines, you might have more than one, or you might have a different one. Is that accurate? Yes. And we can change timelines at any time. I mean, so this is like good news, bad news. And so I'm going to ask one more question for Tyler. If Tyler continues to follow kind of the highest and greatest good, and if he continues to, just put one foot in front of the other and live from love and not fear, is he likely to meet his human counterpart that is on this lifetime? Yes. Now, I want to bring us back. So now what they want me to do, Persephone wants me to link. So is this human person who is likely to be Tyler's counterpart, does that human person, is that person related to the entity that Tyler is communicating with as an alien? Are they related to each other? Yes. Is the alien expression like some part of the lineage, like a higher self type of, not exactly higher self, okay. Yeah. Persephone just kind of showed me that end of the road. Sometimes she's like they show me like almost like a country road, but then there's like roadblock up ahead. So she's like, "Yep," and that's all we got. So Tyler, what I would summarize from all of that is you are connecting to an alien expression that shares the consciousness of your human counterpart's lineage. Did you follow that? You are making a real connection. That real connection is self-described alien expression, not exactly the same as the human that's currently on the earth that you'll eventually meet in terms of what's most likely to be true on this timeline. But there's a connection between that human and that alien. And they're just not explaining to me exactly what it is, other than it's like kind of related to lineage. So there you go. Super interesting. Thank you, Tyler. Here's a question about seraphim and angels. I'm hearing post it. And we'll go at least another 20 minutes. We're not going to do super size today because I have some packing to do and some laundry to move. Okay. Where did once again, if I need a pen, I just look on the floor because that's where everything ends up. I'm going to add seraphim and angels. By the way, in case I forget to say this, we're not going to do a live session 1 week from today, but I keep an eye out because I might jump on and do public lives if I'm somewhere cool. Like, hey, I'm at the Eiffel Tower. Or hey, the most likely one is when I go to Mary Magdalene's cave. That's the end of my trip. We're going to St. Baum. I think that's how you say it. And that's where Mary Magdalene lived at the end of her life. So maybe I'll pop in and be like, hey, I'm in Mary Magdalene's cave. So you might see that from me in terms of a public live on YouTube while I'm in Europe. But this time slot next Friday is not happening. But 2 weeks from today is, except it's going to be later that day. 2 p.m., 3 p.m., not 1 p.m. Okay. Anyway, so we may get to Seraphim and Angels, but if not, 2 weeks is when we'll do it. Let me keep going with your comments. When we do our member conversations, I pretty much always get to every single question and topic and comment. That's my goal anyway. I don't have that goal for today because I just don't, but I am hoping to see all of your questions, and then we'll come back to the ones that that they want me to comment on. Okay. Joyful, you're reminding me of Emily in Paris. I should watch that. I think I watched the first 2 seasons, but I did not watch the whole thing. Maybe I want to catch up and get a little Paris inspiration before I get there. Aaliyah, I think I thought this was going to post it, but I heard short answer. Aaliyah is asking, is Portal 10 in Iran? Let's just get is yes. Do the Iranians have some hidden knowledge? Yeah, some hidden knowledge, but they don't have all of it. They just know they have a portal. Other governments know they have a portal. And a small percentage of people understand that that's really what this is about. This and other similar questions. It's also what Trump's obsession with Greenland, same thing. That was our short answer, Aaliyah. Yes. Madara asks, do starseeds like us also have polarity like light and dark? Yes. In fact, let me just hold the rod, see how they want to explain this. So for those of you who know what I mean by divine family, so in the inner divinity framework, we each have a divine family, which at its core has 4 members: divine mother, divine father, divine sister, divine brother. Usually either our divine mother or divine father are our lineage patron. And so what in my head just now, I said, do we always, well, they're saying shows. The question I asked in my head was, do we always share our default polarity with our lineage patron? And the answer was no. But then there was kind of a follow-up. Do we always share default polarity with a member of our divine family? It just can vary. It's either our mother, it's either our lineage patron. Oh, interesting. And this is Lilith. Lilith is my lineage patron, so she's jumping in here. She's saying that it's your default polarity is typically, or always, I guess always, either your lineage patron or one of your siblings. So my lineage patron is Lilith, and her default polarity is balanced light. But my siblings, so I have Hercules in my brother position, and he's disruptive light. And then I have Persephone in my sister position, and she's disruptive dark. So they're just explaining to me that, oh, interesting. So they say that for most of us, if we take our lineage patron plus our 2 siblings, and if we add up, I mean, if we kind of think of it like math, it's not really math, but so they're just using me as an example. So I've got balanced light, disruptive light, and disruptive dark. So of those, I've got 2 disruptives and 2 lights, and I've got 1 balanced and 1 dark. So that there's explained to me that my default polarity is somewhere between disruptive light, because that's where I have the most. So I have 2 disruptives and 2 lights. So that's where we start. But they're telling me that my lineage patron is sort of like a magnet, like kind of a momentum. So if our actual, so what this means to me is my default polarity is disruptive light, leaning balanced light. Because again, Hercules and Persephone are both disruptive, and they're my brother and sister. But Hercules and Lilith are both light. So that's a consistent piece. But so I'm somewhere on the spectrum between disruptive light and balanced light, which makes sense to me with what I'm doing, especially. This is pretty disruptive. I think earlier in my life, and especially when I was not out in the public, I was content to be more like balanced light. Like I don't need it to be disruptive. I don't need to disrupt anything. People can just do what they want. I'll just do my thing over here. Nope, that wasn't good enough. That was super interesting. Thank you, Madeira, for asking that. I had no idea that that's kind of how it worked. Steve is asking, is the St. Louis Arch a type of portal? Let's see. Prometheus wants to answer that. Is the St. Louis Arch a type of portal? He's saying that it's inspired by, modeled after. Inspired by is a better way to say that. A real portal, but it itself is not. I think that the architects were hoping it would be. Like there were some decision makers that were hoping to recreate something, but it didn't work. Correct. Interesting. Hi, Karen in Santa Fe. Hi. Hi. Is it Angelina? Hello. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Terry James. Thank you, Terry James. I just want to pause. I won't go into detail of why I want to say huge thank you to Terry James, but Terry James, thank you. All right, let me move on. Sabrina, hi. Neva, hi. Oh, Neva's also reminding me of Sis from TikTok. She says it was fun watching me handle Sis. I get a little kick out of it. I welcome the Sizzes of the world. They often turn into good conversations. I mean, interesting. But Venky's here from Norway. Hi, Venky. Allie Nicole says, I can't see pictures in my head, so I feel like I have a hard time meditating. Is there something I can do to make meditation easier for me? Yes. You are not alone. I get this question kind of regularly. And so this is what they tell me. They tell me that anyone who struggles to get pictures in their mind probably has something else that is much more natural. So maybe it's words or sounds or even smells. So the first step is to figure out what does work for you. If not pictures, then what? And then that's what you lean into. So if it's words, they give me the example of like literally writing down a word. Like maybe you write intention on a Post-it and you put that like in front of you and like you're like meditating on a word, for example. Or they're saying that scent is a very powerful tool with meditation that's often overlooked. I don't talk about it very much, but this is something that might be the trick for you if you can't get the pictures in your mind. What you can do is develop, you can train your brain to respond to a scent. So, okay, let's just imagine that you have something, you have an intention that you really want to work on. Okay, so we'll use mine. I think it was when I was on TikTok that I said, like, I just have this intention of in the next 18 months, I'm giving myself an 18-month window, but in the next 18 months, I want to get to Turkey. I want to go to Turkey. I want to step foot in Göbekli Tepe. That's what I want to do in 18 months. So I'm not saying that you should take on that intention, but they're saying that if you have an intention like that, that's got, kind of a long window, 18 months, then what they're saying is if I were in your shoes, if I couldn't really visualize, because when I do it, I see where they're digging. I see the standing stones. I see the symbols. I see it. So I am a person that can see visuals. But if I wasn't, what they would tell me to do is I've got a whole lot of different things that, I've got some essential oils. I've got, I don't know, perfumes that I've collected over the years, even little travel size, like if you're in a mall and they're giving away free samples of perfumes, this is a really good trick. Grab those little free samples and then assign a scent to an intention. So like, for example, again, with my uh example, they would tell me to take like a little travel size of a perfume that I don't ever wear it. It's not like one that I wear out in public, but maybe I just train my brain of like, okay, I'm going to put a little dot, I'm going to go into meditation and I'm going to meditate on my intention to get to Turkey. I don't know how or when, but I'm just going to go into the space of making that a reality. And I'm going to smell my get to Turkey intention scent. And then every time you return to that scent, your brain is going to be like, oh yeah, Turkey, we're making that real. We're setting that intention. So it might not be scent for you, but that was just kind of a fun example. So figure out what is working for you and bring that into your intention. The ability to visualize, to see a picture of something is not essential to getting the results, at least with the method I teach, if that's what you're talking about when you say meditation. With the method I teach, you don't have to see it in your head. You don't have to eliminate all thought from your brain. In fact, if you do get distracted, it's probably for good reason. So write it down and get back to meditation. So the meditation method I teach it's just not precious the way that there's not a whole lot of ways to do it wrong. The way that I always felt like I was doing meditation wrong and failing and stuff. The method that was channeled to me that I teach is very flexible and personalizable to make it work for you. So hope that helped, Allie. All right. Tyler came in with a nice tip for you, Allie. He says, try keeping your eyes open. Sometimes we expect to see pictures on the back of our closed eyelids and forget how our brain actually visualizes. Yeah, actually, when I visualize, or the better way to say it is when they channel me visuals, which doesn't happen nearly as often as just clairsentience, where they just like give me a whole message. It's just a knowing. But every once in a while, if I'm not getting it, like I'm just like, I don't understand what you're saying, then they will show me a visual. But my eyes are open when I see, I often look this direction. Fun fact, I often look this direction for certain members of my most common members of my Pantheon. But every once in a while I'll be like, oh, hi. Some of them are over there or down there or down there. So I don't know. That's just a fun fact. Okay. I wondered if this would come up. I see a question about the hantavirus, which came up last time and I just hadn't heard about it yet. I am not a big fan of spending a lot of time looking at the news. And so that's why I hadn't heard of it the last time it came up, but I've heard of it now. It hit my consciousness now. Well, partly because I was kind of looking for it. Let's go there. I keep thinking that I'm going to catch up with your comments and I probably won't. And we've got two Post-its, one of which we're for sure doing. The other we'll see. But I'm going to go another 10 minutes. Yes. Okay. But let's get to this topic, the hantavirus. Something to worry about? They're like, it's mostly neutral, but it's like kind of like barely a yes. Now it was also a little bit of a trick question because anytime they answer that question literally, it's always is there literally something to worry about? Would we benefit from worrying about this virus? No. So it's kind of a trick question. No, it's never helpful to worry. But I think really what we want to know is it real? Like, because there's some conspiracy theorists who are like, is this even real? Or are we just being told stories? So I'm getting a yes that it's real on this timeline. Gosh. sometimes we can get, sometimes timelines can switch. Yes. All right. So on this timeline and any future timelines that we're likely to move to, is the hantavirus actually an actual virus and that's killing people? Yes. Okay. Is it likely? So, again, this is how we ask future facing questions. We do it a very specific way. We want to anchor it into what's currently true and ask about likelihood of the future. So, based on current conditions, based on how it's currently traveling around and spreading, is it likely to lead to a COVID-like experience? Yes. And by that, do we mean lockdown? No, I was not feeling lockdown, but what I'm seeing, again, I'm looking this way, and what they're showing me is people wearing masks. Yeah. So, like, for example, when I travel to Europe in a couple days, should I wear a mask? Yeah. Because I mean, I'm just like, oh, I'm a little bit thinking about this a little bit more, knowing that I'm traveling. So they're saying that, like, the connection to COVID is like, yeah, we're going to go back to wearing masks, and yeah, it'd be a good idea to wear a mask on an airplane, international flight coming up, as annoying as that is. They're saying, that applies to you too. Like, anyone, they're just sort of saying, like, when in doubt, put on a mask. They're saying your angels, that is a really good use of your angels, and we all have angels. We all have at least one angel. Many of us have two. Um, your angels are going to be like, they're going to be like, put on a mask. Put on a mask. It doesn't hurt. But just put on a mask. Better safe than sorry. So they are telling me, they're saying, don't worry, don't panic, don't overreact. But if you hear a little whisper from your angel saying, on that international flight that you're about to get on, just put on a mask. Just put on a mask. If you're walking through an airport, put on a mask. If you're at home or you're like in a restaurant in a sleepy suburb of Minneapolis, probably fine. Your angel's probably not going to be whispering to you. Yeah. All right. I think that's it. Anything else? Nope. That's it. Okay. Oh, I do want to ask one more question before we, or at least try. Now, this is kind of what we call adult swim. This is more an advanced conversation, but one of the things that has come through is that COVID was a bit of a preparation step for New Earth. Yes. So many of the souls that came to the end of their life on this planet at this time because of COVID, those were souls that were just ready to go and were not ready. They weren't quite ready for New Earth, but they definitely didn't want to be on old Earth. So they just took themselves out, and some of them are back, again, this is not meant to be literal. We don't literally die and then we're born as another baby, like necessarily like in a row like that. But it's also unusual for there to be more than two instances of our soul in a lifetime on the planet. So it gets super brain melty. But anyway, point is that many of the souls who came to an end during COVID are now back on the planet in a younger body, and this body that they're in now is much better suited for shifting over to New Earth. So that was true of COVID. Yes. So now let me go back to neutral. This is Gaia now, FYI. So Gaia, this hantavirus, is this similar in that sense? Are the people, is it taking another wave of people? Again, this is free will. This is free will. but this is one more way. This falls into the category of weird deaths. That's another theme we've been hearing for a long time, is weird deaths and weird weather. And so this new virus falls under the category that they were referring to as weird deaths, because this particular virus is like, it's not supposed to, like, it's just very unusual what's happening, the behavior of it. So it's weird. It's real and it's not an accident. And there might be some things that remind us of COVID. Your angel might whisper to you of this, like, put on a mask. If only for peace of mind. Yeah. All right. That's what we got. Nothing left to say about that. All right. All right. I went past Kelly's, let me come back to Kelly's question. Just curious if you can explain the relationship between the aliens and the gods of the past. Okay, I'm going to try to do this quickly because then we're going to talk about Middle Earth and Portal, and then we're going to say goodbye. Here's how they explain it to me. Every single god that has ever been acknowledged by humans is real. They have different levels of like power and effectiveness, but they're all real. And we can call upon any of them at any time to assist us with anything we can think of. They may or may not be effective in how they help us. Depending on who we go to, they're going to have different amounts of power. They're going to have different like insights. You can ask one god one thing, and you can get a different answer from a different god. So they are not all the same, but they are all real. Now, they're still sourced at the tippy top. So I think they show me the Pantheon realm, and the source realm is where the gods reside, and then the Pantheon realm is where they can bring their consciousness down to then where we can bring it up and we meet them in the middle. So there's two realms that are relevant to this conversation. There's the source realm, where source and all the gods reside. And then there's the Pantheon realm under that, where they bring their consciousness down. So in the source realm, the gods are gods, and they've been through a lot of effort to get there, including, convincing humans to acknowledge them. They wouldn't be there if we hadn't acknowledged them, we as humanity. Whether anyone worships them today or not, that doesn't matter. As long as someone at some point called upon them for assistance, whether we call it worship or not. Now, so those gods, they show it to me like a tapestry where they pull a thread from a tapestry. So if the Pantheon, or I'm sorry, if the source realm where the gods live, if that is a tapestry of deities, they're just, they're all part of one system, but they're also separate. There's the individual threads. Just listening. They pull their threads down as an alien or as a god. But either way, we can connect with them in the middle. But they're just saying that it's different. If they pull themselves down as an alien, they have different strengths and weaknesses, different perspectives. Yeah. But anyway, that's what they have to say about the relationship between aliens and the gods of the past, is that they're the same consciousness. It's just a difference of pulling themselves down in God form, a God expression, or pulling themselves down as an alien expression. And it's just different. It's just different. Aliens are in the galactic realm. Gods are in the Pantheon realm. So it's just different. All right. Let me talk about Middle Earth and Portal, and then we will say goodbye. And apologies to those of you who didn't get your questions answered. All right, let me just confirm. Let me just answer this quick one. Katrina says, where will the churches be if no one needs them anymore? Well, I mean, there's always going to be a wonderful benefit to gathering in person in community. That is never going to stop being a valuable thing for humans to do. So that's how they show me is church buildings are still going to be useful for community gatherings. They're just not going to be used to study the Bible and to worship. That will be used for community and like sharing and connecting. I have one not far from me. It's a beautiful church, and it's very unusual, but it's called a spiritual center, and they just have tons of like speakers and meditation classes and sound baths and things like that. So I do step foot in a building that was once a church, but not to do churchy things. I see this question from Brian asking about 3 days of darkness. No, I always get a no when I answer that question, so I'll just give you the short answer. No, there's not likely to be 3 days of darkness. There are scenarios where there could be some power outages in some places for a short amount of time, but what has been shared about 3 days of darkness is figurative. It's a metaphor, and for many of us, it did already happen. Like some of us had some dark days of darkness where we couldn't connect with our Pantheon the normal way. That's now happened to me twice, but now it's back. Now it's normal. So yeah. So short answer, nothing to look at. Melanie is asking, who are Mary Magdalene's parents? Well, Mary Magdalene is of the lineage of Persephone. And they're saying that's a longer conversation that we'll come back to some other time. Oh, that's so cool. Anne says that she found the same pyramid picture in a large canvas at a bargain bin store. What? So this is just, if anyone doesn't know this, this is the work, both of these pieces actually are work of Hilma af Klint, which is, I did confirm, I can't remember if I told everyone, but this piece is going to be there in person in Paris. I wasn't sure at first because they didn't publish the details when I created this whole event around getting there. I figured odds were good, but yes, we're going to get to see this piece in person. I'm not sure if this piece will be there or not, but yeah, it's Hilma af Klint is the artist. Beautiful spiritualist work. So good going, Anne, for catching that. It caught your eye. Okay. Oh, I see Tyler making funny jokes. Okay. I think all right. We did it. We kind of got to the end. I'm just going to hit this one and then we'll say goodbye. So Middle Earth, portal, Admiral Byrd. So just let's, is there life inside Earth? Is the idea of Middle Earth real? Yes. Is there a portal in Antarctica? I think that's what we're talking about. Yes. Does the portal connect to inner Earth? Yes. And does it also connect to other places in the cosmos? Yes. Admiral Byrd, did he actually find real stuff? Yes. Was his research suppressed? Yes. Do opposing forces want to keep that from us? Yes. Is there actually a base station all around, it turned into a whole thing that no one is allowed to know about? Yes. So just I don't know. I don't know a lot of details of my human self, but what they're telling me is, in conclusion, a lot of the what is trying to be explained the way is conspiracy theory, nope, nothing to see here. Admiral Byrd was crazy, or no, there's nothing in Middle Earth, you're crazy. Nope, it's all mostly yes. Mostly that yes. Just assume mostly yes. Okay. All right. I'm feeling ready to say goodbye. I'm going to save this Seraphim and Angels for a future conversation. So apologies to you who asked the question, but it's going on the wall. We'll get back to it. Again, no public live 1 week from today. Yes, public live 2 weeks from today, but later than usual. Members, next week is Tuesday, Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, not Monday, Wednesday. Inner Divinity Immersion members, office hours tomorrow. And if you haven't signed up yet, please do. You do need to sign up. Divinemagic.com/immersion playlist. That link will work for you if you're part of that group. It won't work if you're not. And you should see the top message should tell you exactly how to sign up for tomorrow. Okay. I think we're ready to say goodbye. Thank you to the Pantheon that came in today. I had so much fun with Yeshua and Hercules, Prometheus, Persephone came in, Gaia popped in. I think Lilith was here, wasn't she? I mean, they probably were all here, whether they announced themselves or not. So let's just say a full thank you to the Council of Nine. If you don't know what that means, let me name them for you. Source, Prometheus, Lilith, Isis, Persephone, Hercules, Apollo, Enki, Hecate. Those are the 9. All right. Thank you to all of them. Thank you to you. Thank you to your guests. Thank you to you members. I will see you tomorrow and Monday and in a couple weeks from Europe, probably. All right. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.